And yeah, you of course always have the option to not have your camera on, but yeah, if you would like to, we are happy to see your face. And once more, very welcome everyone to Coaching with the Power of Pictures. Today with metaFox. I'd like to ask you to actually mute yourself if you're not speaking, especially if you are joining from a busy place. Today we will explore how to help coaching clients get a new perspective on a challenge, how they can tap into their unconsciousness, how to visualize resources, and how to do all of this with pictures. This is why we call it Coaching with the Power of Pictures, how to foster connection and engage clients. This is going to be a very interactive session. So Taina and I, we are going to share a bit, but it's also going to be you who will be able to share and then participate and even facilitate some exercises. And how did we actually end up here? So I'm going to tell you about that with my introduction. My name is Toby. I am originally an energy engineer by education, but already 10 years ago, when I did a trainer education during my studies, I realized that I find it even more interesting when engineers don't talk about differential equations and nuts and bolts, but when they talk about such weird things as emotions or how they feel in the group or what they really value. And this is what we, sort of also made our purpose at metaFox. So in 2018, Max, who's here with us on the call, and also Joanna and Chrissy, we started metaFox coaching tools on the site. And nowadays, my LinkedIn says I am the CPO, so I am the guy at metaFox who cares a lot about our products and our purpose. And I'm also very happy that Joanna is also here, and Max, who is our CEO and who will today support us in the background with chat and logistics. So you can see we have our chat active, and you're very welcome to post questions or comments anytime. Max will keep an eye on this and potentially call you out. But you're going to hear much more from Taina, who's also facilitating and lecturing, if you want, today.
Hi, I will pretend to do both of those things. I'm not sure how I'm gonna get on with that. So hi, I'm Taina. I think, I'm just someone who wears many hats, I think, depending on the occasion. So I'm a life coach, EMCC certified. I'm also a strengths accredited practitioner and level 2 trained in relationship coaching with the Gottman Institute. You probably heard about them. I work in finance. So I'm a finance professional. That's very much my background. And in my heart, I'm just someone who really enjoys working with people, and also is someone who really enjoys working with pictures. So I use a lot of creative tools in my coaching practice, mainly pictures. And hence, I'm really honored to be sharing my experience with you today. Thank you.
Great. So before we turn to you, let me quickly give you an overview of today's agenda. As I mentioned, we are going to have 2 exercises, which you can see here under number 1 and number 4. So that means we will have one warm-up with pictures in just a few minutes. And towards the end of the session, we will have a coaching exercise in pairs. In between, I'm going to lead you through some history of reflection prompts, and then Taina will get more practical and give you some concrete actionable steps how to do coaching with pictures. And in the very end, we will also look back at the exercise, you look back at the entire session, and have a bit of a Q&A all together. That's the plan for today. And to get started, yeah, some quick housekeeping. So as mentioned, feel free to turn on your camera, but please keep your mic off unless you are in the breakout room or speaking. You're welcome to post questions on the chat. And yeah, as mentioned several times already, all of this is about engaging and learning. So please join, participate, be active, active participants, or at least active observers, depending from where you are joining and what you feel like. We will start right away with getting a little bit of engagement. And to do that, I would like to know two things from you. So I just opened a poll on Zoom. I hope you're able to see that on your Zoom. And there's two questions. I see some answers coming in already. Firstly, we would like to learn a bit, what is your role? Are you coaching? Are you even a therapist? Are you working with groups as a facilitator? Or are you training, so focusing on the content? Or are you still finding your role? I see we have many, many coaches. Taina was predicting this. And then secondly, I would like to know, what is your experience working with pictures or picture cards? So is this the first time that you hear about that? Or are you doing this practically in each of your sessions already? Give us your vote now. It's great to see the engagement. We already have 82 answers. I'm going to share them with you in a sec.
Yeah.
Still a few dropping in. But I think we have quite a clear picture already. So I'm going to end the poll so you can also see the results. So we have 82% coaches here on our call, and then only one single therapist, and then 30% who also or exclusively wear a facilitator trainer hat or are still putting on their hat. Secondly, a slight majority has actually never worked with pictures, so hearing about this for the first time tonight. But yeah, we also have a few experienced people here. That's great. You're going to be able to actually apply your experience and get some new ones. So yeah, and with that, I would say let's start with that. So
one more time.
in a minute, we will start into a warm-up exercise. And this basically has two goals. On the one hand, it gives you the chance to actively participate, maybe meet some old fellow alumni or meet new people, so get to know each other. And on the other hand, also be an active observer and see, how does this work actually? How can it work when I work with a group using pictures? So let me lead you through it. What's going to happen is that we will send you into a few breakout rooms. So you will find yourself with some of the participants and also with one facilitator on the breakout. And your facilitator will share a link with you. You just follow that link. You just click the link that comes up in the chat. And what's going to happen is that you are going to, behind that link, you're going to be asked a question. That question is, which picture describes you today and how? And you can answer this question by actually clicking a picture. So you are going to be in a screen where you can scroll through a big selection of picture cards, and you can pick one of these. And after this selection step, you will be able to share your picture. So some of you are going to present the picture. I would say if you are actually doing that method in reality with 10 participants maybe, then of course all of us would be able to present themselves in this exercise. Today, probably not all of you are going to speak, because we are also not only doing this for you to meet, but also for you to be able to observe the exercise. So even if you don't speak, be an active observer, watch out what is the facilitator doing, how does the tool work, and also how do the speakers that actually get to introduce themselves interact with their pictures. What are they saying about themselves? What are they saying about the picture? And what maybe does that say about themselves? So just, yeah, be active, share and listen. Try to keep your speaking time, if you have some, to 1 minute. And yeah, we are going to meet again in 15 minutes. I see on the chat that some of you don't want to join a breakout. That's fine. You will be in the breakout anyway. But if you don't engage, if you don't click the link, you will certainly not speak. So you can also just, yeah, join the breakout and listen in on the breakout.
Okay, perfect. Then, hi everyone. I'm handling the technicalities in the background. Everybody who is facilitating a breakout has been assigned already to a room, so no worries about getting there, except Toby. Toby, please join room number 1. With this, have fun, everyone. So, okay. Oh yeah, I couldn't move you. Okay.
let me unmute myself. Hello to the people who've been on the breakout room, and hello to the people who are just joining us in the main session now. I think some of you may have joined us late. So we just had a little exercise that we did, and we're just sort of coming back from that. Is there anyone else who was in the breakout room who would like to share their experience before we wait, like we move on and we wait for the others to come? I think they're about a minute behind us. No? Nobody else? Has everybody come back? Yeah, everybody has come back. Okay. Yeah. Yes, Mark, we'll make sure to share the pictures. They're actually accessible for free. So the tool that we used, I think for a few sessions, is actually available for you guys to access for free. So we'll make sure to share it at the end of the session. I'm just saying hello to everyone else who I haven't said hello before. If you joined the session late, we're just waiting for everyone else to return from the session.
And this is how we're interrupted by Zoom.
Yeah, there's nothing more cruel than the Zoom countdown, right?
Okay, everybody hopefully made it back. Is everybody back from breakout rooms? I think some of us, came back a bit earlier. So I was just saying hello to some people who also joined the session late as well. So I'm just gonna now share my screen again. And Toby, I think it's over to you.
Yes, thank you, Taina. And thanks everybody for joining this nice exercise. I hope it was nice for you. I think we were testing a bit the limits of the tool, running it with so many sessions in parallel. So I would be very curious, how was this for you? And at this point, we are going to use the poll function of Zoom one more time to give all of you the chance to voice their thoughts. This time I have two questions. How likely are you to try this exercise in your practice on a scale from 0 to 5? And what do you take away? Here you can just post the word. So happy to get your feedback on the poll. And let's maybe also hear from 1 or 2 or 3 people and share their experience.
Is there anyone who would like to share how they found the, like, introducing themselves in this way? Tamsin?
Yeah, I'm reading on room 9. They didn't actually weren't able to run it. So let's give them at least a bit of a flavor of how it was. Tamsin.
Happy to share. I don't know.
Okay, Marco, go ahead, and then
Yes,
we'll follow.
I love the pictures because I think pictures can speak 1,000 words, and they act like metaphors, which I think is always powerful because working with clients, I also use metaphors. I let the client basically create their own metaphor, because when a client comes with a metaphor or picture, so to speak, they can really be powerful, leading to transformation. So I love the pictures. Probably very visual oriented, so that's possibly also why I'm drawn to it. But I definitely would use it.
Thank you for sharing with us. Anyone else? Diane, maybe, or Tamsin, whoever wants to go first. I'm not sure who was. Maybe Tamsin was first. I don't know.
Yeah, Tamsin was first. Let's go with you, Tamsin.
Hi, this was great. Personally using it, I found that it was really just, instead of having to think, oh, how am I doing, what do I want to tell people, I felt that the pictures facilitated me to get there quicker, or perhaps even be braver with what I was prepared to say to people. So there's two things there for me. And then when I heard everyone else's, it was, you know, it was a fun and really quick way to get a little insight into people's lives that was a bit different from how's your day being? Good. Or you got, I think it just facilitated people to say more.
Yeah, great. That's good to hear. Jyoti, quick word, and then Diane, and then let's wrap up.
Yeah, so as someone who was just trained on this and from a more facilitator point of view, I find it really interesting. So thank you for everyone in Roommate for bearing with me. But as a facilitator, I was quite nervous going into it, but it was quite almost easy, like Tamsin said, to get that depth or that story, deeper story behind people, and they're being almost able to share their humanity in a very intimate but quick way. So yeah, I thought it was really good for that.
I'll go
Thank
next.
you.
I also thought it was great. I think the use of pictures was really good to get me thinking about how I'm showing up to the space and share that with people, and also just to check in. I think that's really helpful, just to manage the energy in the space, because you can get a sense of how everyone is doing. The only thing I would say is the technology is maybe a little bit distracting. There were a couple of questions about, should I be seeing this? Should I be seeing that? And the clicking through. And I think sometimes that just takes people out of the point of the exercise, which is to listen. So maybe just screen sharing from the facilitator would have helped to lessen the distractions for everyone.
Yeah, that's also on us taking you on the adventure, and also taking some of our co-facilitators who are using the tool for the first time tonight on this learning adventure. We believe that learning is done best through experience, so we're also keeping it very experiential. And I think that what you're saying, Diane, also reflects on our poll results. So you can see that we have a slight majority who definitely want to try this in their own practice, and 51%. And then we also probably have a few people from room 9 who had hopefully somewhat a good chat and not being too confused. Sorry for that. But yeah, you are going to get another chance in a bit, and also answering your question, Lezan. We will also do this in a one-on-one setting later, and also use screen sharing as Diane suggested. But before that, let's go on a small journey and look at the history of such prompts. And this history starts in 2011. At least that's the first stop in the journey that I would like to take you. And in 2011, the American artist Sandy Jung created what you can see here on the screen share in New Orleans. And what she did here was writing on a black wall, "Before I die, ... So you can see that in big letters in the top, and then also in many small letters with a line to complete the word. And as you can see here, many people followed her prompt and replied not only in the written lines, but basically all over the wall. And this prompt artwork was so successful that it was actually replicated in 78 countries and 36 languages. And in one of the art pieces in New York, somebody wrote, "Before I die, I would like to tell my mom that I'm sorry that I let go of her hand." Or in Iran, in Tehran, somebody wrote, "Before I die, I would like to love and be loved." Or in India someone wrote, "Before I die, I would like to help educate girls." So we can see, even though this piece of art was in public, many people actually opened up quite a bit and revealed lots of things from their inner world, from their lives. And yeah, apparently even such a simple prompt as this sentence completion exercise here can have powerful effects. And that's also a experience that another person was making 100 years earlier, roughly, at the beginning of the 20th century in Switzerland. The Swiss psychoanalyst Hermann Rorschach created these ink blots, or one of these ink blots that you can see here, by basically putting a drop of ink on a paper, folding it, and then opening it up again and getting a somewhat random shape. I'm sure you possibly even saw exactly this picture here already. It's quite well known. And back then, these were the times of Sigmund Freud and psychoanalysis. They were using it for psychodiagnostic purposes even. So basically based on what clients would reply when they were asked, what do you see in this ink blot? And people would say, oh, I see blood. They would give this a lot of meaning and actually do diagnostics on that, which is obviously not, or obviously from today's perspective, not psychologically valid. So I definitely don't say use this to put people into boxes, but I think it's still interesting to use this for these sort of prompting purposes. So helping people to look at themselves or at their challenge resources from a new perspective and share about them through this sort of prompt image. In this example, a very abstract one. And why would we do that? To visualize the reason, I chose the good old iceberg metaphor here on the slide. So you can see here in the top of the iceberg, the visible part, you can see behavior. This is usually what's visible when we interact in the world, when we, yeah, thanks. Let's stay with the iceberg one sec. Yeah, we can see people's behavior. And from their behavior, we can also often infer the goals they're having. Maybe we already know their public goals because they are having a certain role in the interaction. But oftentimes we do not know and do not see people's emotions or the needs that they have behind these emotions, or the beliefs that they hold about themselves or about the world when walking through lives, or what matters to them, their values. So all of this is under the surface, and it's very difficult to see it in other people, but it's even also difficult sometimes to see it in us. And also for our clients in a coaching situation, it's often difficult for them to access this, really understanding what emotions do I have, what needs, which beliefs do I hold. And in coaching, we often want to dip into these waters and find out what's under the surface. And to do that, we can use these methods. So we can call them projective methods, for example, through pictures. So these pictures, they allow people to project something into the picture. We can say, what I see in this picture is me 2 years ago, or me in 10 years. This is what I see in this sunrise. Or we can also use the picture to help people reflect. What this picture makes me think of is ... So this is a way how we can use pictures or also other methods to prompt. And yeah, this is what's called in psychology projective methods. And in general, these are stimuli that are very simple and unstructured. So we often ask people, what do you see? And they have all the world to answer. So they can pick from an infinite amount of options. And as they have such a wide variety to pick from, this is also why we can infer that what they reveal about themselves also says something about their motivation, about what's really going on in their mind right now. This is, yeah, how these things came to life, how we can call this method. And as we are short on time today, we will make this very practical now. And Taina is going to let us in a bit on how can we now use this in coaching very practically.
Thank you, Toby, for that wonderful introduction in sort of the science, if you want, behind these tools. If I can just ask people in the room, share an emoji or something with us, just for Toby. If you're still enjoying the session, that would be great, just to see some interaction from the room. Thank you for doing that. And I actually can't see much happening, but I'll sort of continue with my presentation. So before I get going into some of the practical ways of like using pictures in coaching, I really just want to take a minute to sort of encourage you to try it. No amount of information will be able to basically convey the experience of just working with pictures. I saw honestly some of the most amazing results with clients, and I just can't recommend it enough. I also recommend you try both roles, you know, to be the coachee. Maybe some of you will get to experience that later on today, and the coach. And if, you know, you can maybe find some peers in your coaching group, and I don't know, or get some physical tools at home maybe and try them with your family. Because it's a really great way to do this. So I'm going to give you some ideas and examples of how to use pictures, but really this is all about play and, you know, creativity and, I don't know, just finding out of the box ways of utilizing pictures in your practice. You know, let your inner child come to life. I think as we go into this next part of the session, that's going to be my encouragement. Okay, so let's get ourselves started. So what I will invite you to do now, if it's comfortable, is to close your eyes and literally count 3 of your breaths. And whenever you're ready, just open your eyes and look at the picture you now see on the screen. And try and take a couple of more breaths and connect with the image. See if there's anything that catches your attention. So we all heard that saying, right? A picture is worth 1,000 words. I think actually somebody on the call said it. Or is it Marco who said it earlier, if I'm not mistaken? But I'm sure that are not the same words for everyone. So if I was to ask, what was the first thing you noticed on this image? I will get a lot of different answers now. This will be the same for your clients. They will look at this picture and maybe, you know, focus on their smile and the feeling of happiness, or maybe on the fact that their eyes are covered, and they will draw meaning that maybe they are happy only while their visual senses are taken away. Someone might focus on the flowers in their hair and, I don't know, the meaning of those. Another client might notice, I don't know, the color of their skin and draw some meaning for that. Or maybe, I don't know, the jewelry, the necklace, the heart-shaped necklace, or, you know, what about nature, grass? There's lots of things. I could go on forever. So, but I think sort of you get the idea. A picture can mean many things to different people. And there is a really wonderful around 10 minutes video to talk about some of this. I'll kindly ask Max to share this video with you in the chat. It's a YouTube video. And it talks about what is basically a punctum in photography. It's a really beautiful video. So I suggest you watch it. Now, in coaching, I would say all is good and well when the client connects with the picture or with the exercise that you're proposing, but unavoidably, you will sometimes get the classical, well, a picture is just a picture, you know, just two happy women. And I think particularly then you can use some coaching questions to sort of bring the picture to life and really prompt the client to use their imagination, a bit more and connect to the image, and, connect basically the image to the topic, and, or maybe like what your goal is with utilizing this tool. So you have some of these questions on the screen that you can really use with your clients, ask them prompts. What shapes and colors do you see? Which detail catches your eye? Is there anything else? Where could this place be? Etc. So really try and use as many coaching questions as you can. If you have any ideas of some other questions that you would ask a client, please put them in the chat, because I'm sure your colleagues will appreciate that. And sorry, I was just trying to see if I'm not gonna go and look at the chat now. Just in the interest of time, I wanted to read out some of your questions, but I'll go further because I just want to make sure that we finish the session on time. So now we have a good understanding of sort of the science of working with pictures, and also we know that each individual can tell a different story using the same image. So what we'll do now is look at some ways you can use pictures in practice, and including a demonstration of how I use them in my practice. So, areas of using pictures in coaching. As you can imagine, they can very much be used in any setting, working one-on-one with groups and face-to-face or online. So in a one-on-one setting, you can help clients visualize their goals, etc. In digital setting, you can sort of share a picture in the beginning of a group meeting, and just sort of prompt the conversation, or just sort of set the tone, I say, for the discussion. In a workplace setting, you can really use them to like encourage conversation, what usually is a very formal setting. By introducing pictures, you can really get people talking, etc. And then finally, when working with groups, you can utilize either physical tools. If you're working face-to-face, you can, display pictures and ask people to introduce themselves with pictures the same way that you did today in your sessions, or maybe use a virtual tool as we did today. So sort of a good icebreaker or a warm-up. And now, least but not last, obviously, I would like to show you an example or two on how I use pictures in my coaching practice. So this is a very practical example that hopefully if you leave with anything today, at least you will leave with a very practical tool of how to do your, drum roll please, discovery session. So this is what some people call, I don't know, a chemistry session, an introductory call. I call it meet and match call because, I don't know, I just like a speed dating pun for some reason. You get the idea. This is basically the very first session encounter that you have with the client. So I think this is an incredibly important interaction with your client. One, because it really helps you both decide if you're a good fit working together, but also it will very much set the scene on what to expect moving forward. Now, I'm not going to focus on the practicalities of getting your sales pitch right, as obviously this is not the aim of the session. But what I will do is ask you to reflect on this famous quote from Maya Angelou that you see on the screen, right? I've learned that people will forget what you say, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. So therefore, my strong opinion is that your goal as a coach, your primarily goal in a discovery session, is to create an experience, to make it a memorable encounter. Chances are that your potential client is meeting with at least another coach, if not with several other coaches, right? So one of the best ways, I would say, to stand out from the crowd, as they say, is to make them have an experience, because they will remember how they felt in that session with you. And what better way to do that than with pictures? So on this slide, there's some ideas around how to use the tool that was introduced to you earlier. Now, I'm not going to focus on the slide. I'm just going to very quickly share the tool that you've seen earlier. And I'm going to show you how I use it in a one-to-one session, in a discovery session with the client. So you sort of get the practical insight of what I do. So here I am on the Icebreaker online tool. Hopefully everybody can see it. And if I just go and select this deck, now I can, as the coach, I can select if the participant, which is my coach. So let's imagine that I'm on a one-on-one virtual session now with the coachee. I can select if the client can select one card or two cards. So I'm going to go for two cards now because I want to go with two questions. You can use one of the questions here for the client, but you can also create your custom question, which is what I'm going to do here. So I've put my questions here, and then I'm just going to say start session. So what I do next is I literally just copy this link and share it with my client on Zoom or Teams or wherever I'm running the session. And I explain to the client, of course, that they can click on the picture and expand the picture so they can select one in the same way that you did earlier in the session. Now, this is a great way of asking them to introduce themselves using a picture, but then also how does potential you look like, right? So already I'm getting an insight into who they are currently, and also how do they think that their sort of highest potential them looks like with pictures. So this is one example. Now, if I'm gonna go back and just show you another two sort of quick examples. So another way what I do in a discovery session is use what is called the doorway effect. So I'm just using another tool. And here I'm asking, what door are you going through during this phase, right? So it's just a different way of asking where they're at in their life. Or I can ask, which door are we walking through together? This will give me a good insight into how do they see our journey together as the coach and the coachee. Or maybe what is waiting behind that door, to get, you know, a good insight into what are they visualizing and seeing in the picture, in the future, not in the picture. Another way is using the growing together pack. So here what I do is, this is focused on our work together. So what is your vision for our work together? What do you fear might happen in the process? Right, so these are also really great questions to sort of ask and prompt in the beginning. One, because as I said, you want to make sure that you're a good fit for your coachee. And again, it may prompt them to have an experience when they're having their discovery session with you. So we're gonna share the slides with you after the session, so don't worry about it. But here on this slide, you will see sort of the practical questions, and everything will be here for you. So you don't need to worry about taking notes or remembering what I've just said. And that is it. Time to try this yourself. And I think Toby will introduce the next exercise now.
Yes, so you heard now, and I'm sure you all know very well about the power and the importance of the discovery session. So let's actually try it. And following the example from Diane earlier, we will not use the Icebreaker tool. You can check that out after the session, but you can actually work with a picture overview that I just shared on the chat. So if you look at the Zoom chat now, you will find a file, and you can actually download that file. I hope that works for everyone. Alternatively, I'm also just adding a Google Drive link below that also leads you to the exact same file. And that file shows you an overview of cards. So Taina is opening it right now here. This is what all of you can access now. So please do so.
I'm gonna show you. Should I show you? Here you go.
Yeah, I think that hopefully works for at least half of the people, because then we will be good. Because what's going to happen next is that we will send you into breakouts. with one partner actually now thinking that maybe not everybody is actively participating. I would actually suggest, Max, to change that and put 3 people into one breakout and have one observer also. So you will be sent into breakout and then pick roles. I hope at least 2 of you on the breakout are actively participating and can speak and engage. Among these people, choose who is going to be the coach and who is going to be the client in the small simulation. And if you're 3, there's also going to be an observer. And then just simulate a discovery session. You just heard it from Taina. And to make it very simple, we also say, yeah, work with this picture overview. There's 12 pictures on them. And start the conversation with the question, which picture shows the potential you? Or some variation of that. But this is an easy way to start. Which picture shows the potential you? And then invite your client to pick one of these 12 pictures. They have little numbers in the top, so you can just refer to them also using the numbers. And then have a conversation. So there's really not much to do wrong here. Just explore the client's topic by asking questions about the picture. So what do they see in the picture? Which colors? What do they like about it? What is weird about it? What do they maybe miss in the picture? So be creative. We had many good questions on the chat. And then, have that small simulation. If there's still time and you feel like you've gone through, you can switch roles, but I would say that's optional. It's also fine to do this only once. And we are going to run this for 15 minutes, I suggest. Max is setting up the breakout rooms right now. Did I forget anything in my briefing, Taina? Or are there any crucial questions?
All I would add is, I mean, obviously the question is great, like which, we think that is a great question to use in your discovery session, but also feel free to be creative. If you as the coach in the session feel like you want to use another question, which is more relevant to how you would conduct your discovery session, just do that. It's all about you, the coach, also getting the experience of seeing how a potential client might react to this way of working.
Okay, then again from the technical side, we'll have a breakout room for 15 minutes. 13 minutes in, you will get a timer again for another 120 seconds to wrap things up, to not be interrupted too harshly by Zoom. And you will be called back to the session room here, where we will have a quick debriefing of the experience. Most rooms have 3 people in it. That means one person takes the role of the coach, one the role of the coachee, and one of the observer. The observer can also, in the end, give some feedback on how the coach did, if you want to make that part of the session, and can take care of the time so that you don't run into the Zoom limit. Are there any questions on that exercise? I know it's hard to speak out in such a group, such a big Zoom call. No, then have fun in the exercise. We're starting right now. Okay.
Okay.
I think we don't have a single person in one room. Yeah. Exactly, alone in the room. That would be the worst case. Oh, that was so stupid from my end. Rule number 9. I had it open from before. Yeah.
Curious what happened there. But yeah, on the poll, only 3 people gave a 0. So might have been too bad.
Okay, I have a 1 here. So I'm still giving this a
Should I hop
second
in?
check. No, I just moved somebody from a 3 group into the other one.
Okay.
I guess they will understand. Yeah. Yeah, just as we announced the exercise, a lot of people actually left. So many people are like, oh, this is too exhausting.
Yeah.
I think it's okay.
Yeah, I guess there's an equal amount of people who will enjoy the.
Yeah. And Rob here,
interactivity.
I'm not sure if Rob's still there or not, but I can't see him in the breakouts and I can't move him, so not joined.
And we're actually having the recording. Maybe we can actually pause that.
Oh, and now he's gone. How were your breakouts?
Excellent. We enjoyed the exploration of judgment and withholding judgment as a coach about the choices that our clients make. I think that would be fair, Dave.
Why do you choose this image?
No, you should have chosen something else.
Exactly.
I think
Nice.
what the discussion did was really generate a great discussion between us. So we maybe went a little bit off track of what your original brief was, but it was still around the pictures. It's just a wonderful set of images to generate discussion.
Toby, I think for the debriefing, it's nicer to see people's faces than the slide.
Yeah. Okay. Cool, but I think breakouts are still running, right? So a few people will still.
Now everybody is back.
Okay. Great. So welcome back, everyone. And yeah, you know the trick already. I will launch exactly the same poll that we also did earlier. So to all of you, 2 questions on the Zoom poll feature. How likely are you to try this exercise in your own practice? Again, give us a rating from 0 to 5. And also, what do you take away here? And then also similar to earlier, let's also explore that question actually on audio. Terry, you had your hands up just a minute ago. Would you like to share a bit?
Yes, I was just going to say we had such a fun mini coaching session, and my biggest takeaway from this was it was amazing how much in just 10 minutes or so we got out of that conversation. Having that picture was brilliant. We referred to it, well, I did actually as the coachee. I referred back to it multiple times just because it was there and it was a way for me to explain things. So I was really impressed with how much it sped up getting results out of the conversation.
Thank you for sharing that. Like yeah, that is very much my experience with majority of my clients. I can much quickly get to the essence of the conversation in that way.
Annabelle.
Just had a question whether you ever ask a client to bring an image, which maybe to think about it during the time between the sessions, and then say if something, feels to sum up, it's sort of so they could choose in advance.
I sometimes do that, never in the initial sessions, because but when I do that, it's usually I utilize an object rather than a picture. So I ask them to think about an object for the next session, because I find that sometimes it's easier for them to just select an object from their house, but very, very similar fashion.
Marco.
Yes, yeah, I love these experiences because, you know, pictures are like a window of the soul, and it's fascinating when you know, draw answers out from the person concerned. It really is eye-opening. And I think what I love about it is let your curiosity guide you in what, and your intuition when people give their answers, because sometimes they don't realize that in their answering there's something happening. If that, hope that makes sense what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But you know, so I think yeah, pictures are really powerful. I mentioned also with Terry that I also use sometimes objects, which is of course different than pictures, because the objects gives more texture. But that's, you know, keeping with the pictures in this training. So yeah, very positive, very good.
Thank you for sharing that with us, and I'm glad you had a great experience. I think there was a question in the chat that I've seen of how I use pictures in face-to-face coaching, in one-on-one. Well, there's a, okay, yeah, thank you. I won't answer it now. Then.
Yeah, we will get to that in a sec. So yeah, meanwhile, I also finished the poll. 94% of you participated, and as Max and we were chatting while you were doing the exercise, expected this was probably more relevant for you tonight, as we have a large crowd of coaches working one-on-one mainly. So we get 66% who are very likely to try this. And this maybe leads us also to the last very few slides for tonight. After exploring a bit how your experience was, you may wonder, okay, what's next? How can I explore this more and maybe learn a bit more? There's 2 resources, just 2 out of many that I would like to hint towards on our website. So on metaFox.eu, you can find plenty of things, some for sale, also some for free. What you can see here on the slide is 2 free resources. If you type metaFox.eu/cards methods, you will be able to download a free ebook. The email course is available on /prompts. Max is also posting the links on the chat. If you replace if you put the HTTPS instead of the W, they will also be clickable. But I'm sure you are able to find this also in the footer of the website. You will find all resources. So check them out. There's a few more prompts on prompts, basically. The email course will get you 1 email per week, I think, for a short time. And yeah, the ebook is just a PDF that you download. But if you say, well, I actually like what these guys said about learning, and I would rather actually experience this more and practice this more rather than reading about it, then we also have something for you on our website. And that is basically online workshops like this one tonight, but in a much more cozy and intimate setting. So I guess you will likely be 10-ish participants only on these workshops. Let's see how many participants we get here. And we are having 3 exploration workshops. This is how we call them online right now. All of them are happening online using similar tools that we use tonight, but even a few more. And one of them is focused on pictures, like the topic of today's session. And then we also have one on strengths and working with values in your coaching practice. This is something we're also just launching. So you can also kind of co-shape this experience together with us, and you can also get it at a discount. So right now we are having them on offer for 99 euros. I guess that's close enough to 99 pounds for you. And including in those 99 pounds is also the tool that the session is about. So this comes included in the workshop. So really a good deal. Yeah, and this is also kind of the call to action, or one of the calls to action. With that, we say thanks so much for joining tonight. And yeah, on the screen you can find 3 more links actually. So we just already mentioned our website, that is metaFox.eu, and the online tool is icebreaker.online. And on both of these platforms, you can have a 20% discount if you type in Animas 20 in the checkout. So this is a small gift to the Animas community, to all of you. And of course, you can also meet Taina again on bit.ly/coach it with Taina.
Yeah, I've put please connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm not like very active because I don't have any time for promoting myself actually. I'm lucky enough that people do that enough for me. But yeah, if you want to experience being coached with pictures, please don't hesitate to reach out. I would be delighted to work with you. I absolutely love working with pictures, so yeah, I hope you guys will try it.
Great. Yeah, so thanks so much. This concludes our 90 minutes. I will stop sharing the screen, and I would say let's whoever wants to move on, I say thanks and enjoy the rest of your evening. Whoever wants to stay for another 5 to 10 minutes, please do, and we will also have a small Q&A. But I think before, there's also a small technicality from Isabella regarding your certificate, right?
Yes, you guys might get an email, but just to be safe, I think you'll definitely get an email, but I'm just going to include here a link to the Google form, and then that's you'll receive your certification that you attended this lecture. Same process. If you've been to an Animas lecture before, fill this in and you'll receive your certification.
Great. So even a certificate to take home. Yeah, anybody who still is curious to discuss a bit, leave some feedback or ask questions. And now is the time, just raise your hand.
We're happy to stay with you guys for a bit more, for whoever wants to like just ask some questions or pass some feedback, as Toby said.
Thank you.
Deborah.
I have to go. Could I just ask whether you will share that you're sharing the presentation?
Yes, we will send around the presentation through Animas. So that might take a bit as it goes through the channels, but you will receive it within the next days.
Thank you. I have to go, but it was a great session. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you for organizing it. I have to go as well, but a great warm up again.
Thanks, Marco.
Yeah, I will reach out on LinkedIn, by the way. So I'd love to connect.
Love to connect. Thank you.
Thank you so
much.
Bye-bye.
Deborah,
right.
Yeah. So yeah, I loved the session and we'll definitely be trying it. I'm still quite early in my coaching journey, but I can see that using pictures and other resources is going to be really invaluable, especially with the people that I work with, which are young people, so 16 plus. So I can imagine they'll love working with pictures. Maybe some won't, but do you know what I mean? Where they sometimes can't always find the words. But one of the questions I wanted to ask is, how do we ensure that we don't pollute the space or influence in the pictures that we choose to put in front of the client? Do you see what I mean? Because in choosing 12, for instance, you have made some form of decision of what to include and what not to include. I just wondered, how do you?
Thank you. This was actually one of my questions and sort of topics that I pondered on very early on in my coaching journey. And what I would say from my experience is, and maybe if you're going to watch that 10 minutes video that we put in the chat earlier, you're going to see that actually each one of us see different things in a picture. So actually what the pictures are not that relevant, as much as we might think that is relevant, and we're sort of polluting the space with making that choice. Actually, whatever comes up for the client, they will find it in one of the pictures. So yeah, that's what I would say. I wouldn't concern myself with that at all. But it was one of the questions that I had as well very early on. I do remember the days.
Oh, good. It wasn't a silly question. All right,
no, not at all. I actually pondered that myself because at the very early on when I started working with pictures, I don't know if there's anything that you would add, Toby or Max, to that.
Yeah, maybe I can share a short story from our breakout earlier where one of the participants wasn't able to get on the icebreaker. So I just shared the screen and asked her, well, now you didn't select a picture, but what do you see in the one that is on screen right now? So instead of her choosing a picture, I just gave her a selection of one and still did the same exercise. And it worked surprisingly well. Like I would say, was able to connect to the photo and really give it a very different meaning from the previous speaker also, who had talked about and actively selected that picture just a few minutes earlier. So I think, it is not the picture so much, but the meaning that we as humans or your clients give it.
Yeah, no, brilliant. Yeah, definitely want to try it. Thanks.
Thank you. Rania?
Yes, I just was asking about the link for the ebook. I can't see it on the website. I can't see it in the links that were put in the chat.
Yeah, I think Max has posted earlier. Maybe you can post it again, Max. So it will reappear on the chat. That's an easy one. Thanks, Rania.
Thank you.
Thanks so
Anything
much.
else?
Can I just ask a question about the different card decks and what your experience has been like for somebody kind of just starting out now to use coaching cards? I love cards. I just kind of use them for my own reflective practice, but I like to try the idea now in the discovery call. But I've been browsing the website and there's just a whole big selection to choose from. And any guidance on what may work well in the early stages?
Well, I have to, like, maybe Toby will be able to answer. Is it more physical cards that you would be using or virtually you would be working? Like, what's your way of working mainly?
I think virtual cards
Virtual,
and
okay.
physical ones
So
as well.
virtual, I'm well versed in. I just wanted to say that majority of my clients are in a virtual setting, so I use the icebreaker tool more than the other ones. So I would say that for myself, the first sort of the ones that you see at the very top, so the first 6, if you want, those are the ones that I use the most at the very beginning, at the start of the journey with the client. So the strengths and values, and those are sort of more in-depth exercises that I use sort of later in the journey. The ones that I use the most, so the 2 decks that I use the most in my practice are the doorway effect, as is the one that I've sort of showed you in the example. So it's actually, as you're going to receive the slides, now that I'm thinking, the 3 that I've selected to put on the slide, those are the ones that I would use the most often in my discovery sessions. So the doorway effect, the growing together, I think, and so you will receive the slides and you'll see the questions as well, which I use at the very beginning. And then in the first session, so the first sort of session with the client, I think the Design Your Life deck is the one that I usually use the most. Which is where I sort of set the goals and explore potentials and sort of explore their vision for where they want to get to. Max probably will want to add something to
Thank you for sharing, Tina.
No worries.
I have a new topic. I have a new question which I need to bring up as the Q&A master. So if you please finish your train of thought.
yeah, I don't know if there's anything else, Nisha, that.
No, thank you very much. Just nice to hear your experience with the cards. Thank you.
Yeah, we also do have these small tags here that also possibly help you a bit with choosing on our website when it comes to physical cards, or also the actual so downloading actual cards that you can then also use virtually. We also have that available on some. You can choose the filter here and basically browse through a bunch of different topics here on the site. And with
Thank
that,
you.
yes, please, Max, let's get some more questions in.
Yes, there is actually only one question which I recorded, which wasn't answered yet in detail, which was when I interrupted Taina. So how would using pictures work for one-on-one face-to-face sessions? And I think there's many possible answers here, but maybe Taina, what's your take on this?
I think, yeah, definitely, like, as I've said, I think earlier in the session, let your inner child and your creativity sort of guide the process. So there's a variety of ways. Sometimes, depending on what I'm doing with the client, if I'm having more of a playful session, I might have cards with the face down, you know, invent sort of a little game. Sometimes I might have just very specific 5 images that are very similar but slightly different, and then I ask them to choose the image that's most close to what their situation is. Other times I might just put all of the pictures, like a bigger deck of cards, and ask them to choose one that, you know, resonates the most, or, you know, what, depending on what I'm doing. A variety of ways, and I'm sure maybe Max and Toby will have maybe other ideas from how they've used it. And yeah,
I can maybe share one example how I'm using it. So I let the client, depending on where we are in the journey, choose several images. Let's say we have one bigger issue, right? Then we can choose one image for how am I doing at the moment? Where am I? One for my past, my resources, my relationships, things that help me, people that help me, beliefs that help me, right? So, and then one for the future. So how I overall choose 3 cards: past, present, future, for instance. And I can do that, of course, with any framework. Right? I can say my 2 biggest strengths, my 2 biggest areas of development, or just for resources, right? And then giving, I mean, I'm working with those more on the physical way, but then giving people the cards, you know, to put on the fridge, to put next to the screen, to have a physical anchor with them. That's also then very powerful. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, Steph is raising her hand.
Lost my raise hand function. Can I ask how good the icebreaker tool is on mobile phones for clients? It looks great on the desktop that I'm on now, but I just wondered how easy is it to zoom into images and choose, and is there a mobile function?
Yeah, so the icebreaker tool that we use tonight, icebreaker.online, is mobile responsive. There's no mobile app, but it's a web-based browser app which works reasonably, I would say, on mobile phones. So I also spoke to someone in the past who actually used this sort of like in a live room, you know, with asking all participants to use the link that is shared on a WhatsApp group or something on their phones. We didn't have that in mind when we built it, but I heard it's being possible. Yeah,
that would work.
And same, I've used in a similar setting, so nobody has reported any issues, so I can just trust that it has worked. I can imagine that some of the participants may have been on their mobiles, so chances are that there were actually no issues.
Good, thank you.
Do we have anything else from anyone?
No further questions at this moment.
Great.
Everybody is satisfied, it seems.
Oh, great. yeah, I'm just gonna say thank you so much for joining us. And it was an absolute pleasure to be with you today and share my passion for coaching and coaching with pictures actually. So yeah, thank you very much for attending.
I can only copy that. Thanks everyone, and enjoy the rest of your night.
If you were a co-facilitator and still want to join for a quick debriefing, please stay.
Yeah, I think, should we exit and come back into the session?